Okay, let's warm ourselves up. So we can kind of go outside. Standing. Okay. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 2, 3. That's it. Do both shoulders at the same time. That's it. At the same time. Just dropping it off. The left hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good, that was balanced. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you should go and do a paired stretch. I won't. So off you go. So basically, face in shoulder, gently relax here. Up to you now to do the stretch. You're coming in on this. 1, 2. So rather than stop me there, it's kind of that, which isn't really taking the stretch. Actually, look to get this bend going. So doing this as a paired practice is quite fun actually, and it's a good way to stretch yourself out and get some connection going. Just one thought. Your role is entirely passive. Okay. So I'm not doing any moving, but I am extending. Can you feel the difference? So one is where I'm just popping it in the shoulder. I'm literally looking out the room, doing whatever. There's not much going on there. This time I'm sending key to my partner. So it's a bit more of a stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm trying to myself here. Speed it up a bit. So get forward, watching your eyes. So now switching over. So she can feel it. Can you feel it? Yeah. Yes, if you want to do a stretch, don't take the palm to the floor. Just 5, 3, 4, 5 on the side. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. So, with exercise, so when you're going down, know what you're doing, your upper body comes forward more than your lower body. So try and drop everything down. You know, nice to. That's what a good noise that actually. All right, so thank you. Okay, so there are lots of ways to do this, but I'd like you to hold the upper arm here and make a point of connecting here. It's like you're plugging into the system. Then I don't want to twist the wrist. I'm going to plug into the system now, and then I bring it to bear on your work. And then I send the key. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down and so. One, keep going. 2, that's it. Follow up. 3, 4, 5. Now the side, so she doesn't get dizzy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Full circle. Okay, reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. Okay. So hand practice on the floor. So if you horizontally for me, about there would be lovely. Facing up. Other way. Sitting on the floor.
Oh,
Legs in front.
this is wrong.
Remember this?
No.
Okay. So basically, I'm going to help her. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I'm doing this well, she shouldn't feel like she's being pushed at all. She should feel like she's going a little bit further than she would because I'm putting a bit of energy. So again, I'm adding myself to this exercise, and I'm trying to blend with her movement and encourage it. Okay? Well, when you've done the front, you're going to do the same, but to the side. 1, 2, 3. So let's do the whole set. And then you just switch it. 1, 2. And if she isn't quite right like you have to do that. And that's a bit too firm, or I need a bit more pressure, or whatever. It could be either too little or too much. Or it could be just perfect. Yeah, it's in the front. Keep it there, baby. Hard, just a little bit. So again, if you finish that, so then we'll bring feet together, and we're going to put some downward pressure, not a great big push, just taking out the slack, and then encouraging your partner to relax. Say things like, breathe, and give you a center, whatever. All nothing to do. Just communicate telepathically. Push forward, not push, you're going to extend forward with your palm. So I don't know if you picked that up, but that was a bad use of language on my part. I said push. Push is a very doing word. It's what you do to other people. And this is really a blending exercise. So I should have said extending with your partner or something like that. People pick up on the language you use and they'll get the wrong message if you're not very careful about the words you use. Go for it. Speak the message. So you're going to really bounce, and you're not rather this one, it's back up this time, so she can actually go with you a bit more. Back up a bit more, so that's it. One. There's a bit more of a rhythm to this when you do it on a paired basis. 4, 5. Yeah, you finish that? Well, open your legs. And to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down to the front. It's just not fair.
It isn't.
I'd love to say I used to be able to do that, but I never could. Okay. Bit pressure on the knees. You're trying to open the hips out in a kindly way rather than venturing to. Not so you are, I'm just saying it's the aim of the exercise. You probably would squeal if you don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just going to open this up onto gallery for a second. And you can come on mic if you would, please. Because we're going to, the idea of tonight is we're going to explore what ki is and how to use it in Aikido. It's a word that's obviously built into the name, but it kind of carries this aura that, you know, it's magical or something like that. So what's your definition of ki? What is it? It's an energy. Okay? Anything you want to add to that? Happy with that?
It's in everything.
Okay. It's in everything. I quite like that. Any thoughts?
I don't agree. I mean, there's often something magical, but it isn't really.
I agree with that. That's a good place to start. And opening it up to the floor, so to speak. What do you think ki is? Who wants to go take base on this? Before I pick a name.
An internal energy.
Internal energy. Only internal?
No, internal and external
Right.
energy.
Okay. What, like electricity?
I would say it's kind of a flow of energy which goes through everything and it comes in, goes out to go through us.
Okay. Fine.
It
Anything
penetrates
else?
everything, and so we just use it.
Yeah. Okay. Thomas, I know you're dying to say something. Please.
For me, it's a metaphor.
Okay.
It's a metaphor how to organize your physical power in a way that it feels very light and soft for others,
Okay.
and that you yourself has a good feeling.
Okay.
So it's not this one. It's not key.
Okay, Joe. I read in a book the other day from a friend that ki could be our spirit, but our spirit in the meaning of the blood running from our blood flow and air flow, all of the flow in our body. So, and extra things, just like Thomas said, but I really like that. I thought it's more universal.
Yeah.
Just to explore this.
Okay, good.
Maybe.
Now,
I would say energy and also maybe intention.
intention. Okay, I like that. Good. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay, Finn. Okay, yes, you're there. Good.
All of the above.
All of the above. Okay, so I think
All of the below.
it's not possible to say that any of you are wrong or any of you are right, because ki is not something that you can touch or easily measure. I've got a friend who's just getting changed who say you can measure it, you can move electrical dials and stuff when you play with it. But most of us don't get to do that, so it's very hard to be definitive as to what ki is. So I would describe it as the universal life force or universal energy. It's the difference between us being alive or dead. And it's something that when we play with it, we can manipulate to some degree. Now, whether that's just the organization of our structure, influenced by the way our attitude to mind, I really don't mind, or whether there's a genuine energy coming out of our bodies and affecting others, then it's kind of irrelevant to me. The fact is that you can measure the impact that it has. So, Caitlin, so we're doing this warm-up exercise. So I can physically put this here, and I can assure you I feel really, really comfortable and relaxed, but it's doing absolutely nothing really to do, is it? But as soon as I kind of enter into this, she can kind of feel it, and it has an impact. And now she starts to move. Now I am moving my body a little bit, and the contact's a little bit firm, but the big difference is the way I'm thinking. Now I'm not really moving much at all. Hopefully that was true on camera, I can't tell. So it's something that you can, I think that we do to connect to ourselves, but also to other human beings. So the difference between a handshake that's not really meant, I'm not really putting anything into that, it's not very satisfactory, and a warm handshake is the energy you put into it. Now, whether that's a metaphorical energy or a real energy, a shift in the attitude which reflects in the way your muscles work, I really don't care. It really is, it isn't important to me because I can't prove any of them. All I'm interested in is the difference and how we can change ourselves and change others by playing with our ki. So, as an exercise for yourselves, you can sit down. I want you to slump your back and really slouch over and stare at the floor and just to notice how that feels. So I'm not really miserable, but I'm beginning to feel a bit miserable sitting like this. It's definitely dampened my energy down. It's certainly dampened my awareness of what's going on around me. And I just feel kind of dead and lifeless. So I'm going to just ask, was that a shared experience or was that just me? If you tried it. So that was a yes from you or not? Yes. It didn't work for you. You felt great, did you, Joe? No, you felt lousy. Okay. All right, so you should be doing this too, by the way. So this time, you're going to make use of your structure. You're going to keep a nice straight back. You're going to be looking out dead in front. You're going to put your hands in this nice, calm posture in your lap. And how does that make you feel? Well, I certainly feel much more alive. I feel much more aware. And I feel I could have potential when I'm sitting like this. Potential for action. I may not use it, but I have that potential. Whereas here, it's like someone switched the light switch off. Nothing's going on, and if anything happens around me, it's going to be too much for me. So it's interesting that when you see people walking around the street, you do see a lot of people walking around like this. What vibe are they giving off? It's not a very positive vibe. And you do see some people walking around like this. And they have an entirely different vibe. And it's much more exciting to be around the people that kind of are like that than the ones that are like this. Okay. And when you go to parties, you should look around the room, see how people are standing and how they're engaging with others. And the ones that are very animated will all have very positive postures. And that's picked up in their communication, in the way they talk, in the way they hold themselves, and with the reactions they get from the people that they're communicating with. Call it ki, call it what you want, call it good rules for life, but it definitely is important to be aware of this. So We put this into an Aikido setting. Okay, so you're going to wrist. Okay, so going wrist. Okay, if I'm like this, I'm pretty easy to overwhelm. But when I'm like this, I've got lots of options open to me. I can keep this away, or I can, if this is okay, you can come in. And I can feel what's going on with Laura. But when I'm like this, I get overwhelmed. Just say I got lucky. I still can't do anything with Laura because there's nothing there, there's no juice. But here I'm alive, and I can feel exactly what's going on with you. So, change your state, how you feel, see the difference in the results. Doesn't matter.
Okay, sorry.
You can bully her in that state. You don't want to be pushing her over. So when I think you're alive and you're extending ki, for want of a better phrase, I think you have choices. Choices that you don't have when you're kind of switched off. You can choose to hold somebody at bay. You can choose to let them in. Because you can feel that the opportunity to do either, which you won't feel if you're just dead. You've got your ass kicked. Open to what you feel. She doesn't want to go down. If she doesn't want to go down, where does she want to go? Genuinely. It's not down. Yeah. There we go. So when you feel that resistance, I will overdone it, so she's reacting against it, just let go, and then try. Yeah, that was a good kick in the ass move. Oh, that works as well. That's fine. Yeah. So we're going to try a couple of exercises that maybe help you generate this feeling of well-being. So we can call it well-being, we can call it intention. I like that word. It's very important for me when I'm talking about ki now. Focus is another word that I sometimes use. Ki is just a sort of, it's a word we bring in from Japan that to most Westerners doesn't mean anything. But we have an understanding of energy in words like focus and intention. You have to have energy in these words. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to just hold your hands apart. And I want you to kind of switch them on so they feel like magnets. So that you're radiating energy from hand to hand. And then you're going to just draw your hands together. And when they go close, you're going to send the energy the other way and you're going to draw them apart. And then you're going to draw them together again. And then apart. Just keep doing that for a little while. And as you're doing this, I hope you should be putting your mind into this. So this is me just making the shape. I'm not being mindful at all. I can assure you there's nothing really going on there and I don't feel anything. But when I have this intention to bring my hands together, and then this intention to repel, for me it's quite a squidgy feeling, even having done it a lot. I feel this kind of magnetic pull, and then a magnetic, whatever the opposite of pull is. Push, Yeah, okay, that works for me. Well, now maybe you can imagine that you're holding a ball of energy and you're just turning it over, moving it around, maybe letting the ball get bigger, and then bringing the energy and concentrating it. So it's very powerful with the ball, and then it wants to escape, so you let it expand. Then you try to pull it back in. So I can assure you that if there will be some people out there that if they see this recording, will say this is just me suggesting these ideas. It's not really going on. I have been accused of hypnotizing people, which I find quite funny. So I have no clue how to do that. But I can feel it. And it's a really strong and powerful feeling. So can I just quickly go around? What did you feel?
It's like when you find the practice.
It is. That's exactly how it's for me.
Well, I thought when I breathe in, my hands go together and then breathe out.
Okay. Really interesting that it went with your breath. Yeah, that works for me.
But for me, it was kind of again, like imagine, but it's actually more of almost as if you would feel earth being kind of swirled around.
Yeah. Okay. That sensation
there.
there.
Yeah, there is a sensation, whether it would be kind of like a very subtle muscle movement or something like, it would be kind of like going from palm to palm, and
yeah,
it remains to be good.
Does it feel good or bad? Good.
Well, it depends.
How did you feel?
It's okay, I'm relaxed, so it's like it's good.
Okay, fine. What about you guys? Am I making this up, or were you able to get any feedback you can give me?
I'm getting really bad chilblains in the winter, and they've just come on, so that's good to it's good, just a reminder of how to boost circulation. There's kind of like an embodied contentment, like a equilibrium.
Okay, so it got your circulation going. What about energetically? Did you feel anything, or is that just no? Didn't really feel anything. Did you feel some sort of, I don't know, it's very hard to describe. It's very sensitive and subtle stuff for me. What about for you? Was it too subtle to notice anything there going on, or was it just a physical contentment?
It's
I
just
am
all
asking you.
a warm glow.
Okay, that's good enough for me. We raised your temperature, that's all good. Renowned.
Yeah, I felt it kind of like I don't know how to explain it, kind of like maybe a bit magnetic.
As
like
I said, it's hard to explain, so don't bother to try, just notice what you feel, really. Joe?
I usually feel a lot of things, but I felt that key became touchable, like holding in my hand. So it's really big, something very strong.
Vitaly, it's late there. How's it going for you?
I wasn't practicing it right now, but I do practice it every day, basically, when I do my practice, and I add up some also warming feeling in my palms when I do this.
Marvelous.
And also shifting warmth from one hand to another. It's also a good exercise, I think. That's what I also use. And I definitely get a lot of sensation in my hands when I do that.
Perfect. Thomas?
I mean, if you move slowly on your hands towards each another, you are aware of that your hands are moving towards each another. And then, of course, you have some imagination, how will it feel when they come close together. So I think basically it's a physical thing, but the interesting one is what's going on in your head while you observe yourself moving the hands. And I mean, for a while I closed my eyes doing this exercise, and then there's the same feeling. So you have that feedback in your body, where your hands are and where they are positioned, and then you get that kind of feeling. Yeah.
I personally, I find that there is a real difference between that. They're almost being sucked together, but when I decide to repel, the energy changes and it does feel different to me. But I think one of the things is that, you know, yes, when you go slowly, you feel a lot more. And I think we do have an electrical field around us. And personally, I feel that maybe we have the ability to, you know, to be positive and negative, or both positive, and that's how we create this. But it's just a theory. Steve.
I remember doing the exercise quite a few years ago, and we were always told to think of a beach ball, where you have the softness of the ball,
Yeah.
but it's the way you move the ball around that changes the feel of
What did
everything.
you feel?
I always just feel relaxed when we did this.
Okay, fine, excellent. So another thing that we talk about in Aikido is we talk about our center and how important it is that all our movements come from our center. In Aikido, particularly Aikido, this is deemed to be our main energy center. If you look at other arts, they talk about other energy centers, but in Aikido, we focus on this one. So we are going to focus on this one just for now. And I'm going to ask you just to sit in Seiza or sit comfortably or whatever works for you. And just to focus your mind on your center.
You're putting the left palm
I'm
over
putting
the
the
eyes.
left on my left. And I want you to see in your mind's eye that at your center there's a ball of light. And like we were doing with the ball, we were expanding and contracting. You're going to let this ball of energy grow and grow outwards from you. So remember, it's a ball. It goes forwards, it goes backwards, it goes sideways, it goes up, it goes down. It goes in all directions, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Really, you can't contain the thought of it anymore, so you let it go and you put it back into your center. And you make it contract, you get smaller and smaller. But it's a tiny ball of energy with an immense amount of power in it. So no less powerful, very concentrated. And I won't talk anymore. I'll let you just play with that idea of expansion and contraction. And if you can paint the picture and observe what's going on in your body at the same time, that would be good. Now, personally, this is a place where I could stay for a long time. I could get lost in that for a while, but I don't want to spend the whole lesson doing that. But I just want you to notice what went on in your body, how it made you feel. I feel calmer. Actually, I feel warmer. As before, I said, I'm ready for action. So I'm going to try an experiment. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try. We're going to stand there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test Laura, when she's good. Then I'm going to either extend energy to here, or I'm going to extend it to there. Okay, and I don't know if this is going to have any impact, but we're going to find out. Can I test you the same every time? Okay, so I extended ki to her head, or I extended ki to her center. When you extend ki to your center, you're enhancing her center. You're helping her find her center. This is the weird thing. Okay, she didn't know what I was thinking, and I didn't know whether it would affect her for sure. I promise you, I haven't tried this in any other lesson. But I'm extending my energy there. Honestly, she goes just like that. So I bet you wish you had a partner now to practice that way. We have got to, so we're going to practice it here and we'll see what happens. For the cameras, you're going to point where you're extending your energy to. For you two, I'm going so they can see you.
Well, I can see this way.
Oh, that's cheating, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It was a very special. Oh, I'm studying for you.
I'm going to be successful. Anyone matching? All right, so let's try something else. So Nick's going to just be neutral, so he's centered. So if I try to push, I can't, I don't seem to be having much impact. Okay, so this time I'm going to extend energy to his center. Actually, it does feel stronger, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. And now I'm going to extend energy to his head. It's much easier. So I won't say which direction I'm extending. I'll just do a neutral test. Yeah, still got center, that's good. Yep. Okay. I find that pretty remarkable myself. Try. Otherwise, I'm losing it.
100%.
All right, so when we do a movement like that, we might be literally moving the mind so the person's watching this hand, it becomes unstable. But when we consciously think of lifting with energy, it's not just a shape. That was just a shape. He didn't know I was going to do that.
Well, we kind of alluded.
Okay, fair enough. I gave it away.
Yes.
But I'm going to put some energy into it. No, that didn't work this time. It has a bit more of an effect.
Yeah.
So we should be connected before we're touching, in some sense. When you're talking to somebody, you don't have to grab their wrist to be connected to them. Okay, we don't do that unless we're in an intimate relationship, and we don't usually grab wrists. We connect in other ways physically, but we connect with people all the time in conversation. So if you think of that type of connection, the energy going out, and blending with your partner's energy before they come in, and then play with this a bit, lift their energy or drop their energy. So if I drop my energy down, not a lot happens. That kind of stabilizes into the ground, actually. But hopefully, if I lift them up, it becomes much easier. And if you talk to people like Hiroshi Ikeda sensei, that's what he will talk about. He'll talk about before they ride, you've already lifted them off the ground. Yeah? So it's not that he waits to be contacted and then he tries to lift them. No, he's already lifted them before they arrive. So then when they hit, they're ready to go down. So that's quite subtle, very slowly. In my mind, up, down. I'll try it differently, because this way, I won't be any up, it's just the down. It didn't work. In my mind, I want to lift him up, down. Feel?
Definitely. They're much more effective with the arm as well.
Okay. So we're gonna upgrade it again. We're going to try it here. I'll continue. Really nice. And it's important to allow yourself to believe this. It doesn't matter how it works. Just imagine that it did work and just give it a go.
Yeah.
Maybe you won't try and do that. Good. It's really important that you have honest ukes, because she doesn't know what I'm going to do.
For some reason,
Oh, okay.
This and like in this file.
Yeah, very good.
It's basically. Okay, it's very good.
Just checking this. And then push it up. Very nice. Almost on the ground.
This is my energy working. So she agreed to that.
Just a touch sooner. Now.
Before I arrive, just before I arrive. Now.
Very good. Okay. This is certainly one of my favorite techniques, tension aiding. This is kind of without the energy to it. Now I'm going to put a bit of down and a bit of up. So you've noticed on the first two that when I just use my body, he stops me fairly easily. But when I don't worry about using my body, I just extend down and up. It becomes really hard for him to resist. So that's how we want to do it often. They don't really touch us, but we are touching. So I'm going to concentrate on this expansion. Yep. Of energy. I'll just have to walk and people go. Don't concentrate on it and immediately it's come to a stop again. But just let it go. And it becomes so much easier. So come back to what Thomas said. Maybe this attitude of mind just frees up our muscles and we're able to use our body system in a far more effective way than we do when we're acting with fear, when things tense up. I really don't mind if that's the actual explanation for this. Perfect. We still found a way to find a better level of performance than we would have otherwise. For me, I feel my imagination plays a part. My imagination that I'm extending right down and right up does help me to maximize that performance. Whether that imagination creates an energy and we're genuinely extending to the bottom of the center of the earth and to the heavens, again, who cares? You find a tool that works for you and you go for it. Okay, so if you have four, I'll go with it. And which I will. We'll start from down. So as I'm engaging with Nick, how am I holding you hard?
No, it's firm, but
That's quite a light hold. Are you aware of my presence?
okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to enter this space. Yeah. I wanted to know I'm here and I am trying to impose myself on him. What he's doing is he's redirecting that force that I'm trying to apply to him against me. Okay, so that was really good. And that's how you do it in real time.
Right.
But now you're going to see how slowly you can do that
All right.
and still be successful. So remember, we're a system. I am not here to stop him. I'm here to blend with what he's doing. So if he applies force, he's going to get force back probably. We'll cancel each other out. If he's being soft and gentle, I don't try to use physical strength to stop him. I am matching that energy and the direction of the energy. Because if this was happening at lightning speed, that's what would happen. You'd be reacting to the fact that his hands moving and trying to grab that target. You would not be thinking, oh, I can match you, just haven't got time for any of that. What's happening happening here is that Nick's really lifting me up. But that up means that I can get a good down as well. So we cancel each other out. What he needs to do is go outwards a bit. I can't stop that. It's found a new direction. Let me just plug this in before it goes off. We can keep the show. Perfect. Very nice. We now cancel each other out here. Now you change the direction. Who gets moving then? This one here, this is point. This is that. This here, I'm going down, you're going just stop. That gives it a new direction and continues my elbow on the upwards trajectory.
What did you do? Just went up and tight. So, I just.
That's very nice. It's clever now. Crunch! Excellent, excellent. One of the things that I guess is one of the most common faults in Aikido is that we kind of switch off our awareness of what we're doing and how he's reacting. So I'm so focused on the target of taking him to the ground, I don't spot that he can hit me. But more importantly, I am not paying any attention to the resistance I'm feeling. I can feel the resistance, but my reaction to the resistance is to push harder. Because I definitely get punched in the face. So, when you feel resistance in Aikido, what should you do? You should go away from it. You should harmonize with it. And then everything will happen. When you hit a block, let it go. Don't wait 5 hours. He's hit me 5 times. Oh, mistake, or let's go again. Mistake, let's go again. Try to anticipate, let it go. So you hit the block. I've stopped thinking about him. Release it, go back to him. And it will work really nicely.
Can I add something? In physics, we have the principle of least resistance. It's a universal principle. Like all this nature tends to follow the shortest possible path. To come out of the movement.
So this is a fundamental law of nature, right? So just be smart and follow the fundamental laws of nature. Aikido is much easier. Another fundamental law of nature is that gravity is down.
Well, it depends which kind of just in space.
Be quiet. On this planet, it's down. If I'm thinking up and not letting gravity work for me, it's tough. I have to remember it's down. Then it works pretty well. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to create blocks for your partner. And your partner has to find a way of moving to move you. Okay, so if each other's roadblocks, don't say where the block is. Okay, so I was putting a lot of energy that way, so if he tried to come into me, it was going to be really tough. He had to take me in that direction
And then
to shift me. Yeah. So I could be doing something different. Now there is more, I'm going to bring him to you. Okay, so you don't have to hold the same way. You can do anything you like, but just be in the way.
Get off.
Yeah. Okay, on we go. Okay, so. Ooh, okay. Ah.
So the winding down is still.
Well, that's okay too. In a way, so what did you hit me up? My leg was relaxing up just to pick out of the way, so good awareness.
That is hard because coming from both directions.
I was containing you.
Yeah.
What you had to do was spin a bit, which is actually what you did. Oh. Yeah. So wherever the roadblock is, don't go into it. And if he really seems to want your arm, let him have your arm. So I have a really firm grip on my wrist, and he wanted to lift it up. And if I don't do that too much, then maybe that's a problem for me. But actually, if I just follow it initially, it works for me. It changes the direction and changes the relationship between us. So I try not to fight. Guess which direction the energy was that time? Have a lot of time there.
Well, kind of like it's kind of more
Want to get
static.
out or be strong? Okay, so. Another little useful hint. Sometimes people are like static blocks. So the one thing they want is the one thing they're holding. So I cannot move this up, down, in, out. So what do I do then? If he wants it, I let him have it. I'll stop the rest of me moving. So we never create resistance. He might be pushing in. If he's pushing in, then I'll go that way. If he's going down, then I'll go down. If he's lifting up, I'll go up. If he's pushing it to the side, I'll go to the side. If he just wants to have it, it's all his, then let him have it. In more ways than one. How are we doing? Okay, carry on. You join them a second. So just checking in with you guys. Any feedback, any thoughts? Just okay, fine. Are we happy? We're happy.
It's a bit like sort of falling, I'm thinking, like and practicing, like you're sort of falling into that space or steering into that space, and it's something that's hard to make yourself do. It's hard to pretend to fall. You're sort of either doing it or you're not doing it. You're either pretending or you're.
Yeah. We talked about intention. One of the secrets, I think, of Aikido is to dial into your partner's intention. It's much easier to deal with something you know about than to try and guess. And when you relax and you open your senses up and you use your body in the way that Thomas described, you pick up all the information and you know what the intention is. It's to push you over, it's to pull you down, it's to hit your head or whatever. And then you'll find a solution.
is this.
And you think of anything that you do well. When you do it well, are you uptight and tense, or are you usually relaxed and kind of really open-minded? When you're problem solving, when you let it go, more often than not, that's when the answer happens. Okay, right, so you guys going to come show, man?
So,
Yeah. Okay, fine. So in order to strike me down, what has he got to do first? Well, he has got to step forward. That is entirely true, because until he's in range, it's a waste of time. Okay, but in order to strike me down with the bit he's striking down, what has he got to do first? He has to raise his arm up. So his intention goes up to create some momentum further down. My job is to match the up and not let the down happen. Okay, so here, if I wait too long, then I'm in trouble. But I follow the up. He wasn't giving me any time, so I had to do that.
I think the point of contact, especially when you are following my movement, my intention, is never to allow yourself to get too close. So even at the point of contact, if I can reach.
You can't, when we're practicing, in reality, okay, if there's a stop point and he doesn't want to stop, then I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we're learning, we build in these stop points. It's like point to point drawing a circle. Okay, it's up first. Now, what am I supposed to do next? Oh yeah, it's down, and then you do it down. And we have very obliging MKs who wait around and let that happen rather than hitting us, which they could, of course. But we want to get to the point where the up and down is seamless. Am I up? So my up can't be as up as his up, because I'm still going to get hit. It has to be a bit further. So it's more up, so I get that destabilization. Can you see his foot off the ground? Yeah, just about. And that's when you want to come down. So when rule of gravity, I never get to stay up. I will always come down. And if you put me on one foot, I can do that for a bit, but I hate it really. I want to put the other foot down and stabilize the system. So, sorry. This is more than just the physical shape. So, physical shape. It's not as effective. And I think
It feels simplified.
so now, before he's arrived, I am lifting with him, yes. Up and down. And then it gets really dynamic. So it is dynamic.
Well, I'm coming with intention.
But if,
Momentum.
so I will be okay. So I will come slowly, but I'm going to come purposefully, and I'm not going to stop. But you don't have to be really fast to get this idea into your body. If he gets it right, I'll go down. He was successful until the final down bit when he used to extend. Would you agree?
I think it's kind of locked
It
me.
takes me. So we want to improve that bit, stay smooth in that part. Now, it's smooth as silk. I'm going all the way to that without feeling at any point that I've been forced to do that. And he's felt relaxed throughout. It feels much nicer when you do relaxed.
Well, I had a complete breath. Very, very enforced breath.
Okay, well, there you are. It's interesting again.
Whereas previously I had a little bit.
When we hold our breath, it becomes really difficult, but when we let it go, just talking to you pushes my breath out, so that's very helpful. If I keep talking, I could talk to talk, I suppose, or something.
And you stop breathing.
I stop breathing. Hey, I'm All right, the other thing I find fascinating, okay, when we get to this point, I'm nice and relaxed. But if I say up, 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 I cannot get him down, 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 down. Whereas if I'm my mind, I say down, down. Yeah. Inevitably, he will collapse. Why? Because over many years, you've programmed into your subconscious what up means. So even when you have a desire to go down, when you say up in your mind, you confuse your system and it can't operate effectively. But when your body and your mind are coordinated, oh, that's a message I've heard before. So when my mind is thinking down, my body is emulating down, and you get a nice dramatic result. Right? So I talked about the power of words, and as a teacher, we must be careful not to use words like push and pull, because they're all doing words and there's no harmonizing in that. We're always extending in a particular direction, we're always blending to get the Aikido that we want. This is the Aikido I want, I can't speak for you. This is the Aikido I want. But what everyday words, they have a meaning. So when you say, I'm miserable, the chances of you being miserable are enhanced. When you say, okay, it's difficult, but I'm going to get through this, the chances of you getting through it are much higher. I can't do this doesn't produce results. I'm not able to do this at the moment, but I damn well will be shortly. Different result, different mindset. So let's just go to this position. And in your head, you say, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I really can't. No, it's really difficult. Okay, and then you say, I can do this. I can do that. That's great. And just see how that comes out. You don't have to take that shape. You can take any shape you like. We can do the same again. I can't. This brings everything to I. I'm saying I can't. It's all about me. What's it got to do with him? So I say, we can do this, can't we? We get a different result. When I engage him in the process, then my intention comes through. All right, so you can take your own moves, make your own shapes. I'm not sure how you practice this on your own, but see if you can imagine and find a way. Okay, I will start with ball. Okay. What do you want? Okay. Did you say out loud what I'm going to say?
Good, then, I suppose let's start with
Okay, don't do that. Yes! You know, as soon as you think on this pretty difficult stuff like that, then it's all about you. When you think about the relationship, I quite like him actually. I really would like to work with him. It's different. That's what we're focusing on. The fact that we can work together, not that, or it's going to be tricky. As soon as you make a problem, it is a problem. Excellent. Yeah, because you need to roadblock, but you work your way through it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It is. So who's going to lead first? Oh, yeah. So I can hear. So I can be saying, we can do this, but if I'm the first one to move it, I disconnected. It's no longer we anymore. It was about me again. I didn't mean it to be, but it becomes about me. I really have to put my focus on her. But when she moves, I will move, not the other way round. It's not me making this happen. It's her decision because we're working together. And she'll move because of my energy goes to her. I'm not worried about the turn. I'm not. if I'm worried about going that way, I'm twisting and pulling and doing all that stuff. My energy goes straight to Laura, boom, and it's a bit much. So she tries to get out of the way, but if I stay with it, she'll keep moving. If I don't stay with it, she just stops and hits me. She goes back a bit and then she hits me. So I make a purpose of keeping her away. Can you hit me? Can you kick me? When you extend your key out, it's very safe. I never understand why people want to do it. I don't ever understand why people want to do it here.
I cannot do it well unless
It's a slight mistake. In between the bends, she can elbow me, she can headbutt me, she can knee me, she can punch me. Often, you know, the pain is so excruciating on the wrist that that doesn't happen. I will grant you. But I don't want her to even have a possibility of a thought of that. And if it happens, I can react straight away.
If you're going to do this, look
Yes,
at
very, very, very nice.
Very good. Oh, yes. More.
Yes. After the video and
This is
as a teacher, how do you use your words in class?
I'm excited to show you kind of like, oh, this is so hard. Yeah, to say this is so hard, and they have somebody thinking, well, so like, oh, well, it's not our best. That's what Oh, sounds good. That's really sneaky.
Okay, so let's just check in. Any questions, feedback so far? They just come off mute when you're doing this, otherwise I have to wait around forever. It gets boring.
I love that notion of we. It's like a collaboration. It's a that's a whole new. That's a.
It's
A
so
mind
about we. If your mind is in the we, then you're practicing proper Aikido. My mind. You can only have a blend if you're thinking we. You'll never have a blend if it's about you and I. That's an entirely separate beast. It's separation. There must be separation in that concept.
This was just how you get, you know, it's all very well saying get over yourself or get beyond yourself, but how do it's like you're saying that's eventually puts in your mind yourself, but to think of we is just a great shift.
You have to be open to possibility, I think, Finn. So, you know, if life has treated you hard, it's very easy to put a shell around yourself and not really let anybody in. So if you can't let anybody in, you can't get out either. So Aikido then becomes really hard because somehow you've got to get through that roadblock that you've created. You've got to let a chink of light in to start with. And that's why we practice centering and we practice breathing and we do things slowly. So gradually you can begin to relax into the movement and see that it's efficient. And then as you see, you gain confidence in these ideas, you let a bit more light in and you can do it a little bit more with more vigor, with more speed, with more power, because you know it's going to be okay and it's going to be safe and it's going to be effective. But it's about knocking down whatever barrier you've got in front of you and building new barriers or knocking them down. What I'm doing saying is extending your borders is really what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And we all have them. There isn't a person in the world who's perfect yet. We've all got to push our boundaries and find out what we're not so good at, accept that, and like good Aikido students, find a way of blending with it and moving with it. Any other feedback or thoughts?
What I noticed just like in the beginning of the practice, when we were just shrinking down, and then you were thinking of yourself doing the technique. And when you think of us, of both of you, of the blending, your posture is another one. And your face, your expression, and you just blend. It's the blending.
Yes. Yeah, so it's blending the thought within yourself and then blending with the partner as well. Yeah, so again,
can I add to this?
Please do.
I think of both in terms of philosophy and also, just I want to basically add to what Sensei was saying, that philosophically speaking, and also when you're trying to use kind of like Aikido specific philosophy, kind of like the yin-yang principle, the yin-yang that exists in Aikido, is that we can create the boundaries of what is wrong, what is right, what is not, what is wrong. But they're not really there. It's kind of like an illusion for us, but it's a good illusion because we're trying to find a stable base to which we can act. So once we understand that there's no such thing as duality, it's just like it's only apparent, an illusion. And we need to kind of go through that invisible barrier. Then we can actually integrate ourselves with what supposedly is the universe, the divine, the correct state of mind or the correct state of being that is supposedly what we are trying to achieve. So yeah, the key in Aikido is basically that, achieving that unity with perhaps the divine. Yeah.
So what Nick's saying in a few words is that everything is connected. As soon as you make an effort to connect with whatever's going on, you become connected, you become part of a universal system that's very powerful. And when, for whatever reason, you choose to disengage, because we're fickle creatures, us humans, life becomes a lot more difficult. It's very hard to solve a problem you won't acknowledge, or you're not even aware is there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just do an exercise. Okay, so this is a stable human being trying to take this person down through when all that structure is below him. He's hard. Well, if I think it's going to be hard, you know what? It is. It is hard. Okay, so now I'm just going to rest. And I'm just going to blend with this, and I'm going to send energy downwards. And my energy is going down through the body. And when I'm kind of ready and I feel it's right, I'll just go with it.
Let's go backwards, jump down, a bit more down, like a back.
A bit more. So, what went wrong first time? We know that his body, to some degree, he can't collapse into that space, so his body will fall in this direction if I get this right. He's going to come towards me a bit. It's very easy to find that your energy goes in that direction because that's where he's going to go. You just have to think down. He will fall back, but he will also go to the floor. Okay?
Yeah, overwhelmingly sense of down rather than behind.
Yes. So when I drop my arm, inevitably it comes back towards my body. And if that's where I send my energy, if there's someone behind me, maybe I'll push them back, but it's not going to send anyone down. If I want him to go down, I have to think down. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're not going to try, we are actually going to do it. Now blend with that thing. Don't prepare that. It's one constant down. In other words, we give you something to react to. So go, I will react. That's what it has to do.
Yeah.
So for me, if you have a waterfall flowing down, I want you to imagine you jump into the waterfall and it's immediately going to draw you down. If that makes sense.
Bien, bien. No.
And it is tough. But it's just totally natural, so you can just blend with it. Very play, you can do your own games. Does it?
Surround sound, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's, again, it's just like filling the sentence. So we did then first sentence, that makes it a little easier. To pull backwards, but at least it's less counting. It wasn't slightly lower center of gravity. Oh, no.
No, not sure what this has got to do with Aikido. It's just sort of fun.
Just relaxing.
You're not allowed to leave.
It's cheating. It's coming to a battle.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I think you've got into wrestling somehow, but.
A tear. Yeah. What's that got to do with Aikido? Really? Okay. Please calm down. So, yes. So, 2 cups. This won't do. You should be able to hear it over there. Feel like she's being pummeled though. As you want, you can apply a bit of pressure. Not too much. Again, you're looking to blend. Okay, good. Inside. My turn. Oh. Harder. I'll put myself. There's this. Take some less relaxed stuff from you. So, what is key? I cannot give you a definitive answer. It's all your definitions work for me. All I can say is that I think it's something a bit more than just you. It's about the way you negotiate your way in the world. Yeah, I've given you a few things that you can play with, and you can find out the results for yourself. Because until you feel it, and until you try it, you won't know whether what we're doing here is just made up or you know, it's actually very powerful. So I just encourage you to do that. Just be open-minded, use your imaginations, play with it, use whatever definitions you want. But I think you'll find that whatever definition you come up with, it will involve certain key principles like accepting you for who you are, to be that integrated body and mind that Thomas was talking about you being open to connecting with others and with situations, rather than closing yourself up and pretending everything's fine. You'll only develop if you're willing to open up and walk forward. And that seems to me to be a pretty universal principle, common sense, basically. Just work with whatever makes you feel better. If you're doing that, then you're probably extending ki in a marvelous way, whatever that means for you. So just give you a final chance to feed anything back you'd like, and then we'll close the class. And on the mat, so I can see you guys too, of course.
If you do more pain, more often.
See, he still likes the violence. All right, anything else from you guys, or should we just bow out? We'll bow out. Right, okay, we'll bow to you guys first. Even this bow for me is about blending with yourself and blending with the class. It's a great opportunity to practice. Thank you. You're a great team. So I'm going to take the record off now, but you can carry on chatting if you like.